I'm Mac, I'm a junior. I am a photography major, and I came up to NAU because I grew up like vacationing in Flagstaff, and I've always loved the nature. I love to mountain bike and love to hike, just love to be outdoors, you know? So that's what drew me here. Where does my story begin? So I think like my faith story begins at birth and like kind of takes a giant like 19-year break. Let me explain. So I was baptized as a baby and like wasn't really raised in the faith. Like we would go to mass occasionally, but I didn't take much of an interest into it. Like I didn't do sacraments, I didn't do any of that other stuff. It was reintroduced to me in high school because I went to a Catholic high school. Just both my parents went there and it was down the road from my house, so I was like, sick. Yeah, Catholic high school, great. From there, like I just learned more about the faith, like kind of inadvertently because I was required to take 4 years of theology classes. I took more of an interest in it and like learn more about why God does what he does, because that was something I didn't really understand because I had experienced a lot of grief when I was in like elementary and middle school, and that felt kind of like without reason and like just cruel. My grandma died suddenly when I was 10 from a blood clot, I think, and she was healthy all my life, and I was just like, that just felt like out of nowhere. Immediately it wasn't like a, oh, this is God's fault kind of thing. Like that was just like came with time where I was like, oh, yeah. And then when I was 13, I lost my 10-year-old cousin to cystic fibrosis. And again, when you lose a 10-year-old relative, like that just feels cruel and without reason. And that was the main thing that I made a lot of progress in, like processing, was in high school. Because like just learning that there were like deeper intentions behind that. So like I've seen, this sounds really cruel, but I've seen a lot of like of the good things that have come out of that. And like there's nothing that I've gone through that I haven't seen like something good come out of in the end. So, but the real spark was on a retreat that I went on in high school where I really had a breakthrough, and I shed a grudge, that grudge of losing my cousin that I had with God, because I was just like, I couldn't get past that. But I just decided, you know what? No, we're done. I'm getting rid of that grudge. I don't need it. So I think that's when I like opened the door, but I didn't really do anything with it after that. And I just kind of like, I knew God existed. I knew he was there, but I was just like, I was content. I was content with life. So I was like, I don't really need like any higher powers help, so to speak. Before Christ, a couple of years before, like between like my first semester, my senior year, and when I like really came to know the Lord, was good for a long time. Like senior year was my best year of high school. I really enjoyed it, but it really took a downturn when I went to college. Like I left my friends, I left my parents and the rest of my family and came up here, and I didn't understand why. Because I wasn't very excited to, I mean, I was excited to live in Flagstaff, but I was like, at what cost am I doing that? It got really hard, and I got into like the partying scene, partying, drinking. So that's what my friends up here were into, the 4 friends I'd made. And so I just kind of went with the crowd because it took my mind off of challenges, and sufficing for a while that like it got me through the weekends and just like missing my family, missing home. In, I want to say November. My dad was diagnosed with breast cancer of my freshman year, November of my freshman year. And that was like the first thing that I had that I couldn't like, just, that I didn't see coming, that I was like, yeah, homesickness, totally see that coming. That's a college thing, everybody gets it. But I was like, oh, my dad has cancer. That's insane. Like that was like, that pushed me over the edge. And it was in the back of my mind for a lot of like that middle part of the year, like November to February, until he actually started treatment, and I had to actually watch what the treatment did to him and just like hear about it from my mom over the phone. And seeing him on like video chat, I was just like, wow. Like it was a really hopeless feeling, because I was like, if I can rip the guy apart who was always had such a joy for life and just like big muscular dad dude, and I was just like, whoa, like it really felt hopeless. That's right leading up to like when I found faith. Through that hopelessness, I didn't know what to do with myself, and I had heard about retreat at the Newman Center, and I was like, this seems like a really good opportunity to kind of get my life on track, kind of find some more wholesome community. I didn't really know what I expected out of it, but I was very much encouraged to go by my parents, and just one random mass I decided to come to was when there was a student at the AMBO like promoting it. So I was like, yeah, that's a sign, I should probably go. So I did, and throughout that entire experience, I was like enamored by the fact that there were college-age kids like me that were devout Catholics. I was like, that feels crazy. Like, before I knew it, I was like in the front of the chapel, just in front of the monstrance during adoration, just laying it out there, and I still don't know where that came from. Like, yeah, 6 hours ago, I couldn't have said I was gonna be up here. Just how, like, I'd always felt like God was like a circumstantial thing. Like, he's there when life is good, he's not when life is bad, right? I thought, like, when I was on the kneeler, like, my head was on, like, where you put your hands, my head was down on that. Like, it was brutal, and I'm just like, I really felt the presence of God. And that's when I knew that, like, he's not like a circumstantial thing. He's there like when life is really hard and when it feels hopeless. In fact, that's like when I need him the most. That was when I was like, I knew this is real. I want to do something with this. I don't know what that is yet, but I'm going to do something with it. In that moment, like, the Lord just said, like, whatever happens, you're going to be okay. Your dad's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I wasn't scared. It felt so weird not to be scared, because I was like, I wasn't at risk. I knew my dad wasn't going to die because it was stage 1, and the chemo was just precautionary, but I was just like freaked out. And I was like, I just felt like, whatever happens, I'm going to be fine. The Lord's going to be there. The next steps in my faith after that were, so I just kind of started dipping my toe back into Mass, coming to Newman nights. I didn't really get involved in like more communal like things here other than Newman night. I just met a few people and like it's like, these guys are cool. By that time the year was over, and coming back into the next year, I began to actually take more tangible steps, joining Bible studies, discipleship, volunteering, finding ways to serve others and serve the Lord and grow in my faith personally too. So I felt like really confident in every decision I made to get involved here, and so I feel like that was just the Lord saying, like, keep going, you got this, like, this is what you should be doing. And I was like, I was really like genuinely happy with life for the first time in like years. I began surrounding myself with good people here, and so I thought that like that was like the Lord sending me these people was just a sign that like to keep going, because I hadn't felt support like I did from people I hadn't even ever met before, like from like some of my closest friends in college, so to speak. And so I was like, yeah, these are the people that I want to spend my time with and like get involved with. What advice do I have to send people who are grieving back to the Lord? I think the best advice I can give you is like, I'm not going to say it's not going to be hard, because it is hard, but there's nothing that I've experienced that I haven't seen something good come out of, no matter how hard the experience. Like, I had this conversation with my dad last summer after he finished all of his treatments and got all of it done, and he said that like, yeah, like getting cancer sucks. Any like grief, hard thing you go through sucks, but what the good thing that came out of that was it brought him back to the church. It brought me back to the church. Just like to kind of overarch that, like, don't give up hope, because there's something good that will come out of that. Even if you do lose the person, even if you do struggle for a long time. It took like 6 years for something good to come out of me losing my cousin, but I found it, and it's weird, but I wouldn't change anything. Just keep the faith that it's not your timing, it's God's timing, and just never lose hope that something good will come out.